Good morning, everyone. This is Battalion Chief Hardesty from Fire and Rescue with your Tier 2 report for this month's LEPC meeting. During the first half of this year, Fire and Rescue responded to 19 incidents involving the release of hazardous materials into the environment, of which 658 gallons of hazardous materials were leaked into the environment, with an additional 1,260 that were saved or were prevented from entering the environment by our first responders and members of the Special Operations Team. Thank you and have a good day.
Hello, my name is Misty Sexton, and I'm president of Standard Petroleum Logistics, located in Columbia, Maryland. We are a petroleum distributor, supplier, and consultant on all things fuel. And we've been asked by the folks at Howard County to do a brief presentation on emergency preparedness as it relates to fuels and petroleum products. Since our corporate offices are dead center in the middle of Howard County, we are glad to do this for our neighbors and our friends. Let's get started. Our presentation is going to be a brief overview from 30,000 feet of how to make an emergency plan. Each situation is very unique. There's a lot of variables that go into it, and this is just intended as a guide of where to start. Since we're located in Maryland, of course, we will be focused on the mid-Atlantic states, and we'll break this down into three sections. It'll be three different types of users. First is consumers, and these are the folks that use gas to get to work, maybe have propane for a stove, home heating oil, backup generators. Next are businesses, somewhat self-explanatory, but would also include large-scale farming operations, maybe restaurants that use propane for cooking. And last is government and institutional users. This could be county governments that use gasoline for police, diesel for fire, major hospital systems, university systems, all the way up to power plants. Those individuals should have a very specific emergency plan designed just for their facilities and operations. A lot of times that's a matter of public safety, right? If a home heating oil runs out at a hospital, you have a serious problem. So we're not going too far in depth for government and institutional users, but we will touch on some things that would be useful for you as well. Now that we know your user type, we're going to look at fuel supply considerations and what constitutes an emergency. So petroleum has had over 100 years to develop its infrastructure and perfect its logistical processes. The system is not that fragile, and it has the full support of government. Various branches of state and federal government watch it for any potential issues, and they come out in front of it and they clear the hurdles for distribution. It really takes a large-scale event to cause issues that are noticed on the consumer level. Still, it does happen from time to time, and weather is most frequently the culprit. The Mid-Atlantic region is fed largely by pipeline that originates in the Gulf Coast. Major hurricanes like Katrina and Harvey disrupt the production process that feeds the pipeline. Supply can get tighter and prices can rise. Hurricanes to our north, such as Sandy, can disrupt supply because the fuel gets diverted to help with relief efforts. Now, that being said, both Harvey and Sandy were extremely damaging storms, and the disruption of supply was largely isolated within the epicenter of the storm itself, where gas stations were flooded and roads were impassable. The events that are most threatening to us here in Maryland and the surrounding states are actually blizzards. I teach spill prevention and response classes, and in every class I insert a slide that says, "Don't panic." This is extremely important. Not only is it ineffectual, but it actually exacerbates the issues with fuel supply and distribution. Panic buying and filling of nearly full fuel tanks puts added pressure on the system and greatly increases the risk of spills, which is an emergency in itself. Every time there is a blizzard or a severe snowstorm impending, panic buyers rush to gas stations. I'm not sure why. Where exactly are you planning to go? This increase in demand, coupled with an increase in demand for heating oil and generator fuel, is a challenge for the industry. The Energy Information Administration recommends a 5-day supply of fuel on hand for businesses and consumers to prepare for an emergency. So, how much heating oil do you burn in a day? If your business uses 15 gallons of diesel a day for trucks, over a period of 5 days, that's 75 gallons. Will you need that amount? Will you use less because your crews won't be working, or will you use more? Perhaps you push snow. If you use 75 gallons over 5 days, and there's 500 gallons in your tank, you need not place an order for a top-off. Let that extra spot go to a nursing home that needs a generator filled or a homeowner with a nearly empty tank. Being prepared is all relative to knowing what you're going to need in the future, and then it's a community effort. Emergency preparedness in fuels actually goes beyond supply. Some of the larger issues fall with the actual care of the tanks. So in the case of large blizzards and hurricanes, a lot of water is going to come down from the sky. So you want to make sure that your lids and your vent caps are tight to keep out the rain or the snow. This will degrade the product in the tank, and it will also degrade the tank. You want to make sure that the tank itself or the fill ports can be found by delivery drivers. So if you have a gas station, often they push the snow directly on top of the fills and the driver can't locate them. Also, check in with your fuel supplier. Let them know how things are going for you. If you're a homeowner and you're on an automatic delivery schedule and you're going to be home for the duration of this storm, or if you're a business that is on a regular diesel delivery, but you're going to be using more fuel because you're pushing snow, give them a call and keep them updated, and they'll adjust the schedule accordingly. If you're going to send your employees home and you don't need your regular delivery, there's a spot you can make available for someone else who does. And last but not least, diesel is heating oil. If you're a home heating oil customer and you are in danger of running out of fuel and your supplier cannot get to you, diesel fuel from a gas station is the same product at this point as heating oil and will burn in your tank perfectly safely. If you have a kerosene furnace, you need to put kerosene in that furnace. That's usually available from gas stations as well, but it is labeled separately. This concludes our presentation on emergency preparedness as it relates to petroleum products. Make a plan. Thanks again to the folks at Howard County Government for reaching out and asking us to talk on this topic that we study so much. I hope that you found the presentation insightful, informative. Maybe there's some ideas here you can fold into your own emergency plan. If you're a government or institutional user and you need assistance making an emergency plan for your facility, do please give us a call at the number below. Again, I'm Misty Sexton from Standard Petroleum Logistics, and thanks for watching.